All right, here we go. It is a Monday night. So we get rolling here on a late night happy hour. Tonight, Adam Hill will be in just a second. We are going to review some of the big interviews that were on the LV Sports Network today. Raider Nation Radio debuted 7 a.m. Clay and Pritch. If you listened to Cofield Co, you heard the Mike Mayock interview. Mark Davis was on later in the day with Vinny B from the local paper. Adam and I are going to review that as well. Let me punch that up right now. We can play a little portion of what was about a 25-minute interview. But at the beginning here, you hear Vinny's intro and also Mark Davis explaining why we'll have no fans at the Al for Raiders games in 2020.
Welcome to the very first, the inaugural, the kickoff of Raider Nation in the Huddle with Vinny Bonsignor. I am Vinny Bonsignor, cover the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal at Vegas Nation. And this is the first day of Raider Nation Radio. I am honored to be here. This is... you can't even imagine how big this is here at Raider Nation, where the Raiders are in Las Vegas, that beautiful new stadium, Allegiant Stadium that they've built, their beautiful Henderson facility. It's all lining up for the Raiders. It was a few years in the making, but here they are, along with Raider Nation Radio, 9:20 a.m. And we're going to get right to it because it's kind of a gut-wrenching day today, a bittersweet day, I should say. For the man that is waiting on the phone right now, and that's owner Mark Davis, the Raiders owner. A bittersweet day because everything is lined up so beautifully in Las Vegas, and he had a huge role in that, along with all the help that the Raiders got from the state of Nevada, the city of Las Vegas, right on down to the construction workers that built both beautiful facilities that they're going to be calling home for forever, basically. But it was a tough day as well because today, Mark made the official announcement that due to COVID-19 and due to the fact that it wasn't very likely that there was going to be able to be full attendance for games for fans at Allegiant Stadium in the Raiders' inaugural season here in Las Vegas, he wanted to go all or nothing. If you had to tell one fan, let alone 40,000 fans of a season ticket holders, that they couldn't be part of this great celebration of their new history here in Las Vegas and their new stadium, then it wasn't going to be any fan at all. So word went out to Raider season ticket holders that there's not going to be any fans here this year. And Mark is on the line to talk about that and everything else that's going on with the Raiders. Mark, welcome. Thank you very much for being the first guest of Inside the Huddle on Raider Nation Radio. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Vinny. Congratulations. Welcome to Raider Nation Radio. It's your opportunity to introduce the Raiders to Las Vegas and beyond by giving your listeners a daily dose of Raider talk. And knowing you, JT, Scott, Mike, and Clay, I know it won't be kiss ass. It will be real. So fire away, buddy.
Yeah, and absolutely. I want to make sure that everyone knows that this is going to be, straight shooting from the hip. We're going to be here for Raider fans to celebrate when on a Monday after a big win. If you want a shoulder to cry on, we're here to do that. We're here to analyze, incite whatever the news of the day is and whatever's going on with the Raiders, and we're going to give it to you straight, but we're also going to give it to you fair. Mark, if you could talk about the decision today. I know you and I have talked in length about this and the misgivings that you had with allowing any fans in the building if all the fans couldn't be there. So can you talk a little bit about, the where your heart was when you made this decision?
Well, early on, about 3 weeks ago, the NFL made the decision that the first 8 rows of fans wouldn't be able to attend the games. They disregarded our option of putting up hockey glass in the front rows to protect the players from the fans, and just felt that the 8 rows of fans were going to be excluded from going. That meant 8,000 Raider PSL holders for the inaugural season wouldn't be able to attend the first game. And that hit at me really hard. And I felt at that time that if one fan couldn't go, then I don't know that any fan should be able to go. But what really, really sealed it was the health aspect of this, and the uncertainty created by the coronavirus, and how vicious it's been, and especially in our valley here, it's growing. It just didn't seem safe to put fans in the stadium at this time. There are so many variables involved. All the workers that would have been trained to work in that stadium, we'd have to watch and see, and would we test them? And they're touching the fans. So it would have been tough to have 65,000 fans, 20,000 fans, or whomever, because if they came into that stadium and then left, because we're going to have fans flying in from Oakland and Los Angeles, they would be bringing it back to their home places as well. And we just didn't feel that at this time that it's safe. So we made it a very, very tough decision, but it's a decision that we made.
All right, let's stop the interview right there. That's a really interesting end to the answer, because we already knew, Adam, about the 0 or 65,000. There was no in between. But I wonder how comfy the NFL is with hearing Mark Davis say we were also worried about people coming to our games and then taking it back home, because we do know there are other markets that are going to try to have fans. And I wonder what they think of Mark Davis saying, hey, we're worried about being a super spreader.
Well, the assumption be that those people aren't going to go back to different markets. They're not going to get on planes necessarily. I mean, I know people travel to games, but I guess that would be the argument.
Well, how about in your region, if you have 15,000 fans like the Ravens are planning, you can still be a spreader to your region.
Of course. I think that's an argument about sports in general and coming back, and anybody that's going to try to have fans, that's what you're looking at is it's not just, you're not just going to be at that game that day and then you don't exist in society anymore. That's what we talk about with the players too.
Right.
Where, when you hear the argument, the idiotic nonsense of, well, players are going to be fine. Like, it's not about them. They're going to be playing, potentially spreading it around the locker rooms or wherever else it could be, and then going back into the community, back to their homes, back to their grocery stores, back to everywhere. And it's an unnecessary risk of having them around each other. That's the whole point of whether there should be sports at all. But completely accurate that it's one thing to try to control, a 53-man roster and 15 coaches and some staff members. It's another thing to try to control 15,000 that are there for the day and then go home and fly back all over the region. So I think what he's saying there is it's unnecessary risk and doesn't balance out the reward of, maybe 15,000 of our fans being here every week.
Did I miss something in the opening comments? Did he say something that would have slighted the casinos? Mark says, was he slighting the casinos?
Like, I think he's saying, we're not going to do the same thing that casinos are and have people come to town and then just take it back to their community. I would think that would be the comparison.
Right. Let's keep going. Vinny B, Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m., getting all the big guests, getting all the big Raider guests, as Mark Davis was on today to open the show around 4:05 and talked about shutting down the notion that there will be fans at Raiders home games this year at our brand new stadium.
And I think that the health aspect gets lost a little bit in the equation. Everybody's in a rush to obviously play the games, and knock on wood, all of that goes plays out in a safe manner. But the fans, and everyone was talking about fans coming into the games, keeping them safe, keeping them healthy is a consideration that I think is kind of getting lost in the whole equation. So in your mind, that was a huge part of this, right?
Oh, there's no question about it, Vinny. No question.
As you know, you've also said that if no fans could come to games this year, if that was
Adam, you're chuckling. What happened?
I just always, whenever I'm hearing interviews, I just always like the short answer. It's always
the short answer is always a challenge, and with Mark Davis, you do have to be ready to fire another question, because he may answer for 2.5 minutes. He may give you a 5-second jobber like he did right there.
Was ultimately the decision that you yourself would stay home and watch the home games on TV. Is that still the case? Are you still going to be?
That's absolutely the case. I will not be going to the games this season at home. I don't believe I'll be going on the road as well. We'll see how that goes. But in our desire to keep fans engaged this season, we've got potential ways of doing things on game day that may include them. And that may be potential tailgate parties in a smaller scale. We may even have watch parties or viewing parties. And one of the things I was thinking about was, if we did have viewing parties, that quite possibly I would host maybe 25 people who would donate to watch the game with me. They would learn new words. but if they donated, we could possibly give back to the community, such as the Lou Ruvo Center or Opportunity Village. And throughout the season, we could take lemons and make lemonade out of it.
What do you think of that idea, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially as you mentioned there, like a smaller group, which would be for charity, and very cool that they continue to be involved so much in different, charitable aspects of Las Vegas and ingratiate themselves with the community. One of the things Mark Davis told me 2 weeks ago when we talked about this was that, he was disappointed the fact that there wasn't going to be fans, disappointed that connection between the team and the community was going to be pushed back a year as far as everybody kind of coming together on a Sunday, but that he did see it as further opportunities to continue to build the bridge with the community in different ways, and he would try to figure some things out. So it sounds like this is the first aspect of that, because when he first said we're going to try to do some tailgate parties, I thought I don't think that's the key. I think he's just saying like, hey, listen, if we'll take lemons and make lemonade, as he said, of hey, listen, if I'm not going to be able to go to the games, maybe some people will donate and raise some money for charity. I don't think he's saying it's a good alternative. It's just something. And he's
Left Coast Mike was saying for the audio podcast on this. So were fans breaking the bank to get game tickets to be around or see Mark Davis? I'm lost. No, if they're going to do a tailgate experience, it would be cool to be around the Raiders owner who is committed to not being in the stadium, just like the fans. So I think that's kind of a cool thing. You think Jerry Jones is doing that? You think the owner of the Giants, those guys are doing it? I mean, I don't know. To me, there's a relatability about Mark Davis where he can still connect as a regular guy as opposed to 95% of the rest of the NFL owners who, come on, you think they want to hang out with you?
No, definitely not.
Let's keep going. Vinny B from the local paper talking to Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders. Last couple of points here, and I think the end is something we really need to build on.
Well, exactly. That's awesome, because I know how much your team means to you. I know how much your franchise means to you, but I also know what Raider Nation means to you. I don't think there's been a time that I've ever talked to you, and I'm being honest, where you didn't mention the fans. They're near to your heart. They're part of you are a fan. I mean, you grew up on a certain side of being able to see this as the son of Al Davis and growing up as a Raider, but you do think along the lines as a fan. So you thinking with them and trying to look out for them, I think is a really good thing. Now, what's been the reaction that you've gotten so far from fans, and has there been a reaction from the NFL for the decision that you made?
It's so new that it's really hard to judge the fan reaction. But so far, it's been very positive, and they're grateful that we're thinking of their health and everything else.
Adam, so far, what have you seen from the fan reaction? I didn't see a ton today. I just saw a lot of disappointment, some surprise that no fans would be in there, and then we have a bunch of people, and we'll punch them up here on the chat, who are pissed and think this is stupid. They should be able to have fans in the stadium. What reaction did you see?
I haven't seen much. Like I said, I talked to some fans 2 weeks ago when we reported there was going to be no fans at the stadium, and at that time I thought it was pretty mixed. But for the most part, people were leaning toward, well, I get the equity part. Like, I want to go. Like, I talked to people that had season tickets that said I want to go, but it also would be kind of garbage if I don't get any of the premium games. So I kind of I'm kind of cool with it. People are like, at least it pushes back a year. I think that's one of the bigger questions that people have too. Of, okay, I had a 30-year deal. Do I now have a 31-year deal? Do I get an extra year added on? Also, like, what happens with the money from this year? I think people see that it gets rolled over, but there was one other factor of that too. That when they signed PSLs, they were promised no price raises for 3 price raises. They would not raise their price at all for season tickets for 3 years. Well, does this push that back a year? Or are you counting this as 1 year? So I think those are the kind of questions that people have. But for the most part, they understand it because, like you said, you could have paid for a whole year of season tickets and your PSL and everything else and got refunded for the games you didn't go to, but you might have got refunded for, the Saints game, the Patriots game, and the Chiefs game. You're like, what? Those are the 3 games I wanted to go to. What are you talking about? So, I think from that, along those lines, I think people are okay as long as, they're not going to have to miss out on something.
Your brother, Ryan Carl, chimes in. He says, why the hell can't you just have a third or half capacity? This is so stupid.
That's the thing. It's the equity part of it. You paid $75,000 for a PSL. I'm going to tell you that you don't get the Patriots game or the Saints game. And I think some people say, well, I bought tickets to see the Raiders, so I don't care. But a lot of people bought the tickets to see, some of the premier games. How about the first game ever where there's fans in the stadium, right? I paid $75,000 for a PSL, and you're going to tell me I can't go? And other people can? And I think in his mind, he's like, well, everybody gets in next year, so we'll push it off. And I get there's people out there that are like, I don't care. I just want to go to a game. I don't care which games I get. But you know what the funny part about that is? I know how people are. Right now, you would go to them and you'd go to the Raiders and say, I don't care. I just want to go to the games. Let us go for 25%. Let us go. Let me go to 2 of those 4 games because that's what my tickets are. And they come back and they're like, all right, cool. You get the Dolphins game and the Jets game, or Jets aren't here, whatever. You get the 2 worst games on the schedule. And then they're like, no, I wanted to get the Chiefs and the Saints. Sorry. Like it doesn't work that way. So I think that was the issue.
All right, I'll keep rolling it.
So on that line is positive. The NFL has not had anything negative to say at all at this point. So everybody's on board. It's understood. I mean, this virus is something that we've got to beat. It really is. And I don't know where it's so hard to do this on a state-by-state basis. In order to really knock this thing out, we almost have to have a national plan.
Wait a second. Is he going down this path? God, I love Davis. Right? Because the way he says it, he's like, it sounds dopey, but of course he knows what he's saying. Do we need a national plan? Of course. Mark Davis is totally right.
Of course.
And watch him express the point here. It's like free travel in cars around the country. How are we going to beat this if there are tons of knuckleheads in Florida driving to other states? The same goes for, beating it with Texans acting the way they are. If folks from Arizona come this way, it's like, what the hell? Get out.
If some states are closed up and others are open, and people from the open states go into the closed states because you don't have a passport to go from one state to another, you're bringing in trouble. And as long as we're on a piecemeal type of a thing, I don't know how soon we're going to be able to beat this thing.
How about that?
Wow. Shots
Mark,
fired.
Mark Davis, our national plan to beat COVID sucks.
Wait, what plan? Maybe Mark Davis is proposing the March Kushner plan that never got to see the light of day. I like it, though. Maybe he has a plan. He should propose it. Tell us what he wants to do.
Something.
We need a national plan. God, I love Mark Davis.
Yeah, you laugh at it, though. How many other owners would come out and say that?
Well, he stopped short of saying you and I both know what he's saying, but
right. Well, he's been talking about this for a while, and he's been talking about it specifically with regard to the NFL that has no plan, is going to go with this willy-nilly thing into the season where it's like, hey, whatever happens locally happens. Like, come on, man. Can you have a season of integrity if some places have 0 fans, others have 10%, others have 20%? That's ridiculous.
I agree, but I would also say at the same time, like, the league should have come out, and this is what Mark Davis said last week or 2 weeks ago, was the league should have come out and said, hey, listen, whatever the lowest amount of fans that are allowed in the stadium anywhere, whatever that number is, that's what everybody's going to go with. Or some other idea of, hey, we're going to split the difference. Like, the highest team is like 40,000, the lowest team is 10,000. And that means that, we can have 25,000 at every game. And everybody's limited to that. Like, there should have been some plan like that. And that's what Mark Davis was most mad about, that all along the line, everything was equitable. Like, no teams can go in their facility so everybody can. Nobody can have draft picks in if one place can't. But now all of a sudden it's, whatever you guys want to do. Whatever locally says, that's what goes. And he's upset about that. But I think at the same time, there's a lot of revenue questions that the league is going to have. And, it's going to be tough for them to answer those if teams are turning down fans and not allowing them in certain places. And if the league said no fans at all, then I guarantee the players next year come back and they're like, Yeah, you guys are the ones that said no fans. You still have to pay us. And they probably should say that.
Tom Crusader says, is there a prop bet regarding the league gets canceled midway? What's your feeling on non-bubble NFL working?
It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem at some point. But I think the NFL will kind of pull what baseball is doing right now. I think the NFL is going to be like, hey, there's going to be sick people. What are you going to do? Oh, we have
Well, will the NFL be a little more stringent on rules, like not allowing any of the Marlins members to go to strip clubs, or the Cardinals en masse going out to hang out at a casino?
Doubtful. I mean, they're going to
stay in your hotel, stay in your room. How hard is it? Yeah, it sucks. Do you want to have a whole season? Come on. The NBA, I mean, it's a luxurious, mostly luxurious digs, but it's not like baseball players are staying in freaking whatever, some 2-star dump that Adam Hill likes to frequent.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Baseball is staying in, these players are in nice hotels. My God, it's just, I don't want to go on a rant because, I'm going to, but think about the fact that most of us, when things were locked down, and we were actually lucky enough to keep our jobs and we would go out, so we got a little daily relief. Although, you know what, for a while there, we actually weren't allowed at the station because we had a positive COVID test at the station, but we did it. We did it. I mean, you traveled a little bit because you came over to my house to do the show, but there were days where we did the show in my backyard, and then the next day I would think back and I'm like, I don't even know what the front yard looks like. I never walked out the front of the house. I just stayed in the house all day. And believe me, my house is not as nice as, Jack Flaherty's hotel room at whatever Four Seasons he stayed in. So if I can do it, he can do it.
Oh no, your house is nicer than that hotel room that he was in. It didn't look that nice.
Okay.
It looked fine. I mean, it wasn't a dump. Trust me, it wasn't a, Super 8. But it would suck to be quarantined like they are. It would. And they weren't even playing games. They were just stuck in the hotel, which really does suck.
All right, Clinton's he's just straight to the point. NFL is the same as the federal government. Fuck it. Whatever happens.
It is. They're gonna have guys on the practice squad ready to go, and they're just gonna plug away. They don't care. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know how bad it would have to get. I'll tell you this. If Eduardo Rodriguez dies, which it doesn't look life-threatening at this point, but if something like that happens, it's over. Explain
the situation with Rodriguez now.
So Eduardo Rodriguez, pitcher for the Red Sox, has a heart condition from COVID. He had COVID, thought he was over it. It had long-term implications on his heart, which it does take it really damages organs, which is horrifying for what the studies are going to look like in 15, 20 years from now. But he had an arrhythmia, irregularity with his heart. They thought he'd be out for a couple weeks, and they just said, you know what? He's shut down for the season. He's not going to be able to play. His heart is messed up. And so
back baby, sorry.
Racist beer. So it looks like he's going to be okay. It looks like there's not too much concern long term, right? Long term. There's not too much concern immediately about his health, and they think he's going to be fine as of next year. But right now, they've got to shut him down for the year. He's out, and you can't mess with heart issues. Something like that happens. Something like that happens to an NFL player. The season is over. It is. It's shut down that day. It's done. So that's what you really have to root against. Oh, I did.
I believe that this would go under the heading once again for those who like to say, "How do you know? How do you know it wasn't a pre-existing condition?" I don't believe that COVID caused it.
That's fine, but it's. I think at that point you have to say,
well, shut down by what, the Players Association or Bobby Manfred is going to do it, because I don't trust him to do anything right.
Oh, I'm saying the NFL would shut down too.
Oh, really?
If Eduardo Rodriguez, can't say it. Eduardo Rodriguez is not going to die tomorrow, or we don't think he's going to die anytime soon. We think he's going to recover, and we think he's going to be fine. I'm just saying in general, if he died from this, the NFL would not happen. It just wouldn't.
I'm not so sure.
I'm pretty positive of that. It would be one death and it's over for this season.
We rant a ton on this. And yes, iRebel, you're right. The whole "you won't die" defense is so ignorant.
I don't know.
You might not die, but someone around you may die. It's so apparent we're not even close to getting out of this.
No.
And I don't want to come on here and spew the negativity, but you see human behavior will always lean towards making it a quick fix, right? So in states where they seem to have beat it, numbers got way down, they start to open up, people just act like lunatics. Come on, my home state, New Jersey, it's fucking stupid. How dumb is what's going on there? Last week, but that's like a prime example. You get states that start to ease up and they're like, we beat it. And like the human instinct is like, let's go right back to life. Like, we didn't say go back to normal life. Be careful. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Don't have parties. I mean, they broke up a New Jersey party last week with 700 people. It took 5 hours to break it up. We saw there were a series of about 6 different parties all over New Jersey that led to about 140 cases alone. Rutgers, the football program, do you see the update tonight? Now, their COVID positives have doubled. There's now 28 people in the program who have coronavirus. That's just stupid. Just dumb. But like, I'd sit here and go, I don't get it, but I do get it. And the same thing will happen here. Like, I feel so bad for bars that aren't open. And God damn it, I forgot to load up the video. Did you see VGK? There was a kind of a informal watch party over at Foley's Pizza Joint. And if you go out to bars, there's space between everyone, right? While you're sitting at your table, while you're sitting at your table, you don't have to wear a mask. Frankly, we should be a little more stringent on it. Unless you're eating or drinking at that moment, you should have your mask on. The other thing is, and Kevin E. Martin put out a video, and I saw people immediately respond. VGK scored a goal, right? Most of the people in the bar are like, yeah, right? Screaming and yelling. Probably a little more manly than I just did it. But screaming and yelling. Adam, what is the problem with screaming?
You project more when you open your mouth wide and try to make more noise.
None of them had masks on. Now, I know this is no fun police stuff, but what do they need to do? Tell people if you're not eating or drinking at that moment and you're at a Las Vegas or Nevada bar, you have to have your mask on. More importantly, if you're watching sports, you know what? You actually can't scream. And I know people will be like, what the fuck? But you really can't. And it goes back to we joked about the story in Japan. You remember the roller coaster story?
Of course. No screaming in the roller coaster.
Yep. Japan amusement parks. You can't scream on roller coasters. So it was very funny. Immediately people are like, hey, there's no mask on. What are they doing? A bunch of, hey, 15% of those people have COVID by the end of the week. And Kevin, for some reason, was defending, because I don't think people were attacking the location, because that's the policy.
Yeah.
But Kevin was like taking up defense on behalf of the place and fans. And it's like, no, they probably shouldn't be yelling. I know all this sucks. It does.
But it's also the issue with, we talked about fans earlier at games, right? Where, okay, let us go into the games, 25% attendance, you spread everybody out, and let's move them around and spread out. And then the Raiders score a touchdown, what happens? Everybody has beer in them, they scream, they run toward each other and high five and sell it. Like, that's going to happen. So as much as people say, I've said this again, of course, yes, every time. And that's what's going to happen. And I said this before too. I know so many people that are like, just let us go back out. We know we'll follow the rules, we'll follow the procedures. And then you see that, and they don't. I literally have a friend who was screaming about, hey, we're adults, let us out. We understand we have to wear masks, we have to spread out, we get it. And the first night he was allowed to go out, he got there and it was a restaurant bar, and they said, you can't sit at the bar, you have to sit at a table, has to be spread out, and you can't walk up to the bar to order, we have to bring it to you. And he lost his mind and left. Like, I'm not going to be told how to live. Like, you are the one that said you're responsible enough to go out and do the right things. What you want is to go back to normal and just ignore it and pretend it's not a real thing and call it a hoax. Like, that's what you really want. So be honest about it. If there's too many people like that will, that will just go back to normal and think everything's good. That's why things had to be shut down. It had to be shut down again in some cases.
I hit a restaurant bar on Saturday. I'll actually mention it. It was the Tap House. They had the table spread out. I will say in the booth area, because we were on the far side of the entrance, there's all high tops. There were 6 high tops. The spread was pretty good. No one was screaming or yelling at the Lakers game, or I forget what other game they had on. The booth area, I mean, people in back-to-back booths, probably a little too close. By the way, the food was good. I got those wings.
Tremendous. The food there is tremendous. But also the booths are pretty high.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you're not actually sitting next to somebody when you're in the booth.
I mean, could I have had a mask on the entire time with the SO? Yes. Was I talking to the SO? No. Were we both on phones the whole time to make sure we're COVID safe? Yes. And that's why we did it. Or we're just really bored with each other and there's something really cool on the phone going on right now.
Oh, your phone's probably got COVID on it, though.
Oh, it's who knows? I hope not. I'd have it then.
I still am totally blown away when you're like, out with somebody or you're hanging out with friends or whatever, and somebody's like, "Oh, check this out," and they try to show you a video on their phone. Like, no, I'm not touching your phone.
I have done that to you.
You're nuts. Yeah, you're nuts. What are you doing?
I'll tell you the best thing about those Cajun wings at Tap House is, man, just dipping it in some ranch to cool it down a little bit.
God, what? Stop it.
No.
You can't just troll like that.
Yeah. No, I didn't go ranch. I didn't go blue cheese. I just let it sear. Different kind of sear than the steak. We'll have to show some steaks later. Man, it was spicy. Someone was fired up in the back. Someone likes spice. I think I still have like 7 of them, so I might have to reheat them in an air fryer. Going to the Tap House.
There you go.
We actually tried to go to Skinny Dugan's because that's all part of the chain that owns Chicago Brewing. So I wanted a different kind of pizza, but man, we drove up on Skinny Dugan's and like right away you're like, okay, not open, like boarded up door. That is a big gambling place, and that bar is like 5,000 feet long. I guess they could probably set up. I think they have a banquet room. I guess they could set up there for just food service and drinks, but maybe it's not even worth opening.
Yeah, it just sucks. It's terrible, and the reason that a lot of these businesses are closed. First of all, it's because they can't close casinos, which is what they want to do. But the reason these businesses are closed is because people just they will not follow rules. They just won't do it. And people are so immature about it.
We got check that, Rebels.
There you go.
We got Rebels coming up later on. We got Golden Knights as well. So Golden Knights a winner. I had Stars plus 110 when it was 3-3. So you're welcome. I delivered the victory for you with a jinx the other way. We did get a request today from one Brady.
The producer of Late Night Happy Hour?
He is oftentimes the producer of Late Night Happy Hour. And this video's quick. This happened recently, right? The BK slap?
It looked like it.
Again, no mask if I'm correct on the slapper. Do we know the backstory on this? Someone get mad about their service at Burger King?
I was reading the story. It said that the video just picks up well into the arguments. We don't know much of what happened before it. But yeah, this person was just overly obnoxious in general.
All right. I'll play this for you in a second. Man, look at this kid. I mean, he is stereotypical. Living that suburban lifestyle dream. Stereotypical kind of dorky looking kid working at Burger King. Like he needs some a-hole to come in and complain about
it's a guy? It's a guy?
It appears to be a male, yes. Was this really over nuggets? Well, no, there's
the employee's a girl.
No, there's a woman in the back that you can tell he's yelling at, and you'll hear it here. But was this really over getting shorted nuggets? Are we serious? That's a joke, right?
No.
Or as Rock and Roll Cabbie says, BK ran out of ranch, so he just lost it.
But also, this person, the aggressor's employer, said he's no longer employed there. So TMZ said, "Oh, he got fired for the video," and they're like, "No, he had already been fired. He's not a good employee."
Wow, shocker, huh?
Yeah.
Watch the behavior here. This is him threatening someone in the back, and then just slapping some poor kid right in the face.
Stealing stuff. So she needs to get the fuck out of here before I get her put in jail for the rest of her life. Sir, you are on camera right now.
It's not even a good slap, though.
Out of here before I get her put in jail for the rest of her life. Sir, you are on camera right now.
That's some hair going flying.
I was gonna say the reaction too, like he caught the hat though. That's impressive. I think. No, maybe not. I mean there wasn't even a hat there. What am I seeing?
Maybe it's glasses.
Yeah, it was glasses. I think.
Camera right now. That's for life.
Oh.
Sir, camera right now. Sir, you are on camera. You are on camera. Camera right now. Camera right now. Camera right now. Camera right now.
All right.
He didn't even get the right now out of his mouth.
The slap isn't funny. The editing is funny. It seems excessive for some Nuggets. Now the accusation is that the employee stole because he was short Nuggets. So he's basically saying they stole Nuggets from him. They wanted him to go to. They wanted the employees in jail and fired and accused them of theft for not delivering all of the Nuggets that were due to him. It is frustrating when your order gets wrong, Steve.
This guy got nothing. I thought.
Chargers?
I mean, they were very weak. And as you said, he was fired though, right? But he had already been fired by Harbor Freight. That's where this idiot worked.
Yeah, the story was that they said he was no longer employed there. So TMZ said, we got fired for the video. And they said, no. He was already not employed here. Clearly has some issues beyond anything else. Yeah, it seemed like a severe overreaction. And by the way, is it like the employee doesn't have a mask on either? So are we sure this is recent?
Yeah, it seems old.
Yeah.
What kind of stories you feeding us, Brady?
Yeah, Brady's a terrible producer. Although, if the reason this guy was mad was because there was no masks on, are we more supportive? If he's slapping people for not wearing a mask, I think I can get behind that.
Well, if he said it, but he's screaming about. Is he yelling at the girl in the back because she wasn't wearing a mask and that's why she's going to get arrested?
No, that was because she stole his Nuggets.
But he's not wearing a mask, the customer.
Well, he wants everybody else to. I don't think it was over masks. I think it was over Nuggets. And I think, is Burger King the 10 Nuggets?
I don't know.
I think we can just agree that I know you love Jack in the Box Nuggets. Burger King Nuggets are objectively trash.
They're not great.
They're awful.
And they're super cheap, so that's why I buy them. They're not as bad as chicken fries, but they're not great.
First of all, chicken fries are awesome.
Really?
And yeah. Also, do they still have them? I think they were gone like 4 years ago, I think. How many, like if it's 10 for $149, I think that's the cost of the Burger King Nuggets, if I've seen the commercial correctly.
Right.
Like how many would there have to be for you to get this mad? Like if there's 8, you're still okay with it, I think. If there's 6.
All right. First of all, who counts the Nuggets?
Everyone.
Nope.
Yes.
I might count Chick-fil-A because I don't trust those suckers. And they're better Nuggets, so I want to make sure I get. I feel like I get bonused a lot, and I don't go to Chick-fil-A often, but I always feel like it's more Nuggets. The thing with Burger King Nuggets is I'm usually getting them when I'm starving, and it goes right into the passenger seat, and there's no count. Like there's one in my mouth within like 10 seconds. So I'm shoveling, but I'm not counting as I'm going along. I'm driving. I'm watching TV. I'm texting. I have no idea. I don't do any of that. I have no idea. That's you. I have no idea how many Nuggets I got in the first place.
Well, I think it's because you're a no sauce guy, aren't you?
I can go no. Well, it's hard. Do you have like a dipping holder, like a dip holder in your car?
Well, I don't eat fast food anymore, so I don't really.
When
I
you
don't
did,
know.
when you did, you don't talk about no fast food, right? For the rest of us asses we're getting here.
No, I think you use the nugget holder, the nugget container, like fold it out and put the dip in it. But I would say the reason that you know how many nuggets it is because it's usually like 5 nuggets per dip. Like,
Is that right there? I didn't know there was I'm a light dipper, so I might be able to. And oftentimes if I really like the dip, like I will cheat myself, like on that Jack in the Box, Red Hot dip, which is really one of the reasons I like the those chicken pieces so much. Jack in the Box. I will get 2 Jack in the Box dips, the Frank's Red Hot, and I don't want to open the second one because it may spoil it. Like I only may use like a tenth of it, and then I'm like, I opened it. I can't just put it in my fridge at home.
Well, the Jack in the Box ones they're giant nuggets.
They have nuggets and they have pieces. The nuggets.
The pieces. The pieces.
The pieces, yeah. The pieces, yeah.
The pieces are really good. The nuggets are garbage.
I think the nuggets actually have the same breading, and I think they're very competitive with the pieces.
Not even close.
How do you know you don't eat fast food?
Because I remember I used to love Jack in the Box, and I feel like the pieces are they're like chicken fingers, and the nuggets are just little. They're like fake chicken or something.
They're small. Kevin Bitter says you got to get at least 70% of your nuggets. Otherwise, you get to slap the cashier in the face.
I think it might be 90.
You think it's 90?
Like if you order like a 20 piece, there should be at least 18. I mean, I think there should be 20, but there should definitely be at least 18. And in a 10 piece, yeah. Well, like think about so if you order a 6 piece, now we're saying you have to have at least 4. Yeah, I feel like you need 6. I don't think it's a straight percentage because it totally discounts the smaller package. Like a 4 piece in a kid's meal, no chance.
Wait, 4 nuggets?
The kids meal has 4 nuggets, I think.
Oh my God, that's small.
So you need at least 4. Like you can't get away with 3 or 2.
I would say 75% then at least. You're going 90.
You need 100. If it's a 4 piece, you better get 4.
Or you get or someone gets a slap.
Yeah, I think you should be allowed to slap whoever, but not the front desk person. The person who doles out the nuggets.
They get to do whatever they want in the back. That's you know what? I wish I worked now at a fast food place. Okay, maybe not. But
if you knew now what you knew then.
No, because I wonder, because we talk about it all the time in businesses, and it's like casinos, right? The guys upstairs and the people upstairs and the people the pit bosses, right? They make certain decisions, but you're the one who's on the front line as a dealer. Kind of that. There's a lot of jobs where there's the frontline person has to take the abuse from the customer, while the person in the back gets to do whatever they want. And I wonder if there's a natural hatred of the people who make the food from the people who have to serve it up front, because they don't know what's going on in the back. They just blame it on you, and then you get smacked in the face.
That's definitely true. And there's a lot of politics involved in those fast food joints too.
And people are fighting a higher minimum wage for these dudes and gals. Really? You could get slapped in the face because the nugget ratio is off. But that's not worth a couple extra bucks an hour. Okay.
Well, doesn't it, if we stretch that out, aren't we now getting the front desk people to hold the people in the back more accountable because they're in danger? Like this kid is going to go back to the people in the back and be like, hey, get your shit together.
Yeah.
And make sure you give everybody the proper amount of nuggets or I'm getting slapped again.
Brady, now you're just being a troll. I mean, this is a Charlie Kirk move right here. Sweet and sour and barbecue are the best sauces. Come at me. Sweet and sour. Seriously. Sweet and sour.
Are we talking? I mean, this seems like we're talking McDonald's. Because I'll tell you what, if I ordered nuggets at McDonald's, it would be sweet and sour and barbecue.
All right.
That's my 2.
I'm not a sweet and sour guy. CJ Cards fan, I need like 5 sauces to get through my strips. That's abominable. Do you realize what's going to, if you're that greedy with the sauces, CJ, sauces, they're going to start charging them.
They do.
They do?
For extra, yeah.
You can't just get 5 for free? Is CJ paying?
I don't think so.
God,
I miss Cane's is so good. God, it's so good. It's delicious. Cane sauce is by far the best sauce.
Yes, there's politics at Burger King. There's politics everywhere.
Everywhere. Politics is everything. Oh, the people that got the plum assignments back in my lengthy days working at McDonald's. And the people that were the nicest of the managers would get the best assignments in terms of time on the cash register, the best break times, the premier break time.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah.
Brady saying sweet and sour is at McDonald's, BK, and Wendy's. Is that right?
Interesting.
Okay, has his back. Sweet and sour is superior. Where can you get hot mustard at a freaking fast food place? Hot mustard?
You definitely get a honey mustard.
God, hot mustard. Tell me where I'm going to that place. I don't even care what I'm eating.
It's disgusting.
I'll dip
awful.
I'll dip a fillet of fish in hot mustard.
Oh God. You have some awful taste in sauces.
Hot mustard? It's the best.
No. Not even on a pretzel or a hot dog.
Wow, Church's apparently charges 30 cents for sauce.
Wow.
Man, I am not a McDonald's guy, so the hot mustard's at McDonald's. All right. What are you dipping? What are you dipping? I have no idea. I just don't go to McDonald's.
I think nuggets.
Let me write that down. That could be one of our podcast names. Just hot mustard.
Steve uses that on Adult Friend Finder. Hot mustard.
And it's inevitable every time we start talking about fast food. Yep, you guys are screwed. You'd think we have a deal with big fast food, wouldn't you? It's always at the time. It's always when you get that fourth meal craving, and then we start talking about dipping sauces and, as Mark says, nugs.
Dude, did you just brand it? First of all, fourth meal I think that's a trademarked phrase.
That was a Taco Bell promotion, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, of course. What I'm saying, you're branding Taco Bell on here.
Well, they don't use it. Do they use it now? I thought they stopped using it.
I think they use it in perpetuity. I think it's theirs now.
All right. Couple of quick updates. I'm not trying to blow you off with the all right. It was just a weird transition. Couple of things. So I mentioned the ridiculous Rutgers football news, 28 positives. Good job, morons. Mike Soroka tore his Achilles, the Braves pitcher. I mean, what a stupid season this is.
Really?
And I have him in fantasy, so that's why I say that. NBA tonight, Lakers win. AD has 42. Nuggets win. And Mr. 4chan, Michael Porter, 37. By the way, if his back stays healthy, right, and he can really play, the Nuggets are going to be an NBA champion eventually. That was such a steal pick, and it was risky. I think he was the 16th pick. That guy should have been a top 5 pick had he had any luck with his health. He can be awesome. That, and if he doesn't catch coronavirus and pass away.
The nerdiest memory challenge ever right now. Was he 14th? Was he 14th?
Maybe.
I'm trying to think. Like, for some reason, it's sticking out as 14th in my mind. I don't know why. I don't know. Yep, 14. You were right. You got me.
I know. I said 16.
Oh, I said 14. Yeah, I already forgot.
You were right.
Yeah.
He was 14. You were right. I'm like, actually, you were right. You nailed it.
I can't remember. I was looking it up. The one thing about him that, like, again, he does need to research in the right places, but he also has zero interest in playing defense, zero. And at some point, like, I think he's going to be an unbelievable offensive player, but at some point, you at least have to think about it. Like, at least think about trying defensively. He's got all the tools that you would want for somebody to be able to play defense. Like, just
so your contention right now is that he's probably a 6 man who scores, but only when that's the only way he's useful. If he's not scoring, he doesn't play. So game to game, he could be a disaster or could score 30.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to find consistency offensively, but I don't even think you have to play defense. Like, James Harden's shown you don't have to play defense if you're a great offensive player, but try. Like, try every once in a while. Because I think he could be good at it.
Another interview we did today, we had Brian Custer on, and he's a boxing guy for Showtime. Was in the running for one of the afternoon drive slots at WFAN, so good New York area media guy. And we actually got into a little bit of MMA with him. How good is Clarissa Shields, and how hard is it to find her real opponents?
I don't know how good she is, and that's the reason why. Right? So you watch her. I think she's probably the best female fighter I've seen, but I don't know what to as a boxer. But I don't know what to measure that against because I haven't seen her fight anybody legitimate at all. The thing to me is that she has all the potential in the world to just be a massive superstar as an athlete if people can catch on to her as a fighter. So all this talk about, maybe fighting a Layla Ali or crossing over fighting Amanda Nunes, like, I feel like she needs to do something like that to catch people's attention. But, like, if you sit down with her, she's unbelievable. She can talk about anything. She'll talk trash. She'll jump into conversations. She sat down on our podcast, one of the RJ Combat Sports podcasts we do, and it was at a UFC event, and we were talking about something, and she jumped in, and I was like, sorry, jumped right into trying to talk to her, and she was like, no. She's like, go back. I don't remember what it was we were talking about, but she's like, no, I'll talk about that. Like, I'll talk about anything. I'm like, okay, and just rolls with the punches. Does can just engage in a conversation and has a message too. Like, she's very outspoken. There's so many good things about her. We just need to see if anybody can compete with her, or if she can get that fight that takes her to the next level.
This is funny. Rock and roll cabbie. I just realized Adam and Steve are roommates. From
Yes.
across the house. Yes, totally true. We are attached at the hip. Here's Brian Custer talking about Clarissa Shields, and I think she does need to fight MMA. I think she does need to fight Amanda Nunes, and I also think that UFC needs Clarissa Shields because Nunes is going to walk unless they get her some real fights so that she continue making big money. I started the wrong one. Damn it. Too many cuts to deal with. This is Brian Custer. Showtime.
Did she discuss fighting an MMA fight at all? Because I sat down with her not long ago. She wants to fight Amanda Nunes.
Yes, she said, and she's been training. She's been training, just learning how to kick, learning how to, throw people down and get learning the throws and things of that nature. She says, but I'm taking baby steps with it because she says she got a lot of boxing to do. She said, but what upsets her most is that when people say a great fighter, they mention Amanda Nunes first. And as I tried to explain to her, I said, but because she is a fighter, you're a boxer. So you're used using your hands. She's using her hands. She's kicking. She's a overall fighter. That's why people say she's probably the best female fighter right now. And she, listen, Clarissa says she doesn't like it, and that's why she started training. And she told her people that, listen, when she feels like she's comfortable, either they do it in a boxing ring or they do it in the octagon. She said, but that's why if they say we doing it in the octagon, she wants to be ready, and that's why she says she's training.
What does she have to do to take that next step? I feel like she's massive already in that world, but she has so much potential to be a crossover star. Is it to take one of these fights? Does she have to do this to kind of take the next step?
I think what she says she's envious of, which was a really good point. She felt like the MMA and UFC does a better job promoting their female fighters than boxing. And that if you even look in the UFC, sometimes the UFC, they're the main event. They do a great job of promoting them and getting them out there. She's like, a lot of times for my fights, you got to get the promotion. We really don't ramp up the promotion until maybe a couple of weeks before the fight, maybe a month out from at the most. She goes, in UFC, you see their stuff all the time, and she's like, I don't like that. And I think they do a great job. And I think she said that was one of the reasons why she kind of wants to do that. And as you talk about, to broaden her fan base, she goes, maybe I need to do UFC. Maybe that's the ticket to broaden my fan base and have a wider net. We'll see, but she's adamant on doing it.
There you go. Brian Custer from Showtime. Would Clarissa Shields, that was good to hear at the end there that it would be MMA, right? There's no way there's no way that Dana White is letting Amanda Nunes go and fight under boxing rules.
Well, Clarissa said she would do both. Amanda said she wants to do MMA first, and then she'd go boxer. But I will say that Amanda...
That would be so awesome if they did that, where there's actually a return fight and they fight both disciplines.
Yeah. Amanda is a really, really nice person. I don't know how many people know that much about Amanda Nunes. She's incredibly nice, and she doesn't curse that much. But I will say that when Clarissa Shields said that she was training and kicking and takedown defense, Amanda got really pissed.
Yeah,
she goes, because she said fuck her. She said, "Do you know how long it takes to learn this sport?" She's like, she's going to train for 6 months and then fight me in MMA. Like, fuck her. And so she was not happy with that.
I love it.
But I think it is a way for Clarissa at least to get her attention, at least get some interest, because Amanda has talked about walking away. Like you said, she's talked about retiring, and she needs something to kind of inspire her a little bit. I think maybe Clarissa getting under her skin could help that.
What kind of money are we talking about for both fighters? If it's UFC,
how much would it bring in, or how much would they make?
How much would they make? You laugh, and I'm not the biggest fan of female fighting, but if they were able to build it up and they had some good trash talk, especially from the Shield side, you don't think that's a moneymaker? You don't think that draws pay-per-view eyes?
No, I do. I just don't think they'd actually give them the money. I think they'd make a lot of money off of it, and they wouldn't, make what they want. Could they each make 2? Sure. Yeah,
what?
2 or 3.
2 or 3
million?
what?
Million?
100,000? Oh, really?
I think so.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
That's a good payday. They got to do this.
If it's built up, and I mean, you build toward it instead of just, well, we're going to fight in a month. Yeah, I think so. And I think they would do something with, like, announce it and then have Clarissa fight a boxing match and just destroy somebody.
Right.
Like after the fight's been announced, and kind of build toward it that way. Get a bunch of eyes on her in boxing and say, "Oh, this is the girl that's going to come fight Amanda Nunes. Let me watch her box."
Is it sad that this is really the first female fight that could be on the docket that has me fired up in a while?
It's probably bad.
Right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Like,
you weren't fired up for Jennifer Maya, Joanne Calderwood on Saturday?
No. LZ Granderson joined us today from the LA Times from ESPN LA. And, we talked about that Deshaun Jackson thing, the anti-Semitic stuff with LZ. And LZ wrote a great column about 2 weeks ago. Basically, well, he can explain it here. It's like, listen, if you're going to attack others, then don't expect them to step up on behalf of you when you feel like you're a victim of inequality. So he explains the LA Times story and why he wrote it.
What I found really shocking about the whole thing, in retrospect, was really the outpouring from my Jewish brothers and sisters for writing the piece. That I wasn't aware of how much some members of the Jewish community felt under duress by anti-Semitism until I really started to see the responses to the column. And I was even more grateful that I wrote it because, one, one of my closest mentees that I love dearly, I've known him since he was, not even in high school yet, and now he's a full adult. He's Jewish. I've had several Jewish boyfriends. I have several very close Jewish friends. And it just never occurred to me that speaking out on behalf of the people that I know and love would be a sign of bravery or courage. But it wasn't until I started getting those text messages and those tweets that I saw that this was really a big deal. And so it's so disheartening that in the midst of this racial reconciliation, that there are some people in the African-American community who feel part of this reconciliation has something to do with being anti-Semitic or tearing down Jewish individuals or Jewish community with their hateful words and conspiracy theories. That, to me, is so weird and so disjointed and so hypocritical and disheartening, actually, to be quite honest with you. Because I thought we had already checked that box and moved on, but apparently not. And, the influence of Minister Louis Farrakhan, among others, obviously still has a very strong grip on some people when it comes to how they view those two relationships.
Yeah, it was interesting. In the middle of that comment, he said he was, kind of blown away by the amount of feedback he got, and that a lot of Jewish folks were really happy that he stepped up. You know why? Because no one did.
Yeah.
Like, no one stepped up. Aside from a couple of Jewish players around the National Football League, like, there was no voice out there to say, hey, Deshaun Jackson, you're a jackass. And even worse, Steven Jackson stepped up and then got his message all screwed up and was like, I got D-Jack's back. Like, dude, you got to be really careful before you say you have someone's back who is tweeting out what they believed were words from Adolf Hitler. They weren't, but you got to watch yourself. I don't know. Again, I just don't think you're going after the right targets.
No, but ignorance doesn't know a color, and ignorance doesn't know religion, and it's out there, and it's more. I mean, a lot of this is based in conspiracy theories.
Yep.
And there is a a large segment of people and across all spectrums that believe in a lot of conspiracy theories, and the internet has propagated that. And you get it from COVID is a hoax to the Earth is flat to all these horrific negative stereotypes about Jewish people. So it's everywhere. It goes all over the place, and nobody's immune from stupidity.
Do you want to answer this one? LA Times, LZ Granderson, is he one of the D-bags that is jealous of Arash?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
He retweeted him, I believe, today. So I don't think he is. I think he would probably not be interacting with him on Twitter if he was one of those people, but you never know. I don't know that about him.
Here's another question at the end of the interview with LZ Granderson, again, LA Times columnist. He's going to be afternoon drive on ESPN Los Angeles against us. We will beat him.
Good luck, bro.
He's moving from the morning show to the afternoon show with George Sedano, as ESPN LA has actually made a big commitment to local radio, so they're expanding out their lineup. They're still going to have Kellerman, Max Kellerman, and Greenberg on in the early midday, but they've made a big commitment. They've even brought in a guy in Scott Kaplan, who was working in San Diego for the longest time before. What the hell station was he on? I get confused. The Mighty 1090 was the most recent call letters or the moniker of that station. But here's LZ. This is completely out of left field, but it was sort of culture related. There is a UNLV recruiting target who goes to school in Southern California. I explained the question here, and I thought the answer from LZ was pretty interesting. Nick Demetris is the prospect out of Southern California. There's a kid who plays high school football at Sierra Vista, Baldwin Park, and he's actually from Watts. His name is Nick Demetris, and of local concern for us, he's down to UNLV football, Fresno State football, and Mississippi State football. What would you say to a young man who's from Watts about going to play football at Mississippi State?
Be ready. Just be ready. They ratified the 13th Amendment last. They just took down the Confederate flag. So just be ready. I've never been one to tell people not to go where they think they could be best utilized or not to go where they can maximize themselves. But you also just need to be aware of what you're walking into. So I would just encourage him to just kind of be aware and just know what he's walking into.
Right.
And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It can be scary. It can be uncomfortable. I certainly have been in situations where I've been uncomfortable. And I know that comfort is heightened and made worse when we're fearful of it. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be seen.
Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a weird subject because I think we talk about this as adults who've been 20 years removed from college, and in your case 50, that don't have the same thought processes and a lot. And we say like Mike is saying, don't go to Mississippi State. It's like going back to 68. I get that, and I think on a in a big picture view of things, you look at that and say that. But a kid is just looking at where do I like the coaches? Where am I most comfortable in the program? Where do I fit as a player? This assistant coach has really taken me under his wing and seems to really like me, and I bond with him, and I think he can help me get to the next level. Those are the things that kids think about. They're not really looking at I'm moving to Mississippi. And maybe they should, and maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they're going to be sheltered from that during their time there. But I just don't think that kids of that age do or even are expected to think on that scale.
Yeah, I just don't think people are familiar with enough history. So now the argument for Mississippi State over Fresno and UNLV, I mean, it is a much higher level of football. You do get to play in the SEC. He's a defensive player, this kid is. So, you have a good chance of going to the NFL if you play well in the SEC. And I think you can make the NFL from Fresno or UNLV as well. I think looking at the list is interesting. On the side of UNLV, the program may not be strong, but you actually are going to a school that has the most diverse student body in the country, and your other choice is Mississippi State.
Yeah, I totally agree. And iRebel is saying give the kid some credit. I don't think it's not giving him credit. I just think it's
I don't know. I Rebel. It seems like what's the kid's name? Is it Kylan Hill? I'm getting his name wrong. The Mississippi State running back was like, "This is bull crap. We got to change the flag, or I'm leaving." So he's been there. He's been there. We saw Chuba Hubbard was like, "Wait, Oklahoma's like this?" Yeah. Yes, Chuba. I mean, what would Chuba's excuse be? He's from Canada. So he doesn't know what Oklahoma's like.
Maybe. Maybe, like I said, I think kids are.
By the way, Mike Leach is a fun guy to play for, but he also has a severe "I don't get it" part of his personality. When he tweeted out 3 months ago some meme with lynching in it, like, bro, you're in Mississippi now, okay? Come on. There's no jokes about lynching.
Yeah, but I mean, I think kids are committing to campuses, not states, and not even really cities. And the campuses are pretty protected for the most part. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe it shouldn't be. And maybe kids should, go to a place where, they're more comfortable with the state as a whole or the city as a whole. But I think kids are focused on the program and the campus more so than they are where it is.
So Golden Knights game tonight. What'd you think? What'd you get out of the game? What do we think of Leonard? And we'll get to the pregame stuff in a minute here. But takeaways from the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing you're watching for is, just how the team is playing, and in particular how the goalies are playing, because that's the competition going on right now. And are they ready? And I think for 40 minutes, I was obviously doing the show for most of the game, but I watched afterward. For 40 minutes, they didn't look ready for the playoffs. And it's not the playoffs. They have a couple more games left, but they're trying to ramp up and get ready for the playoffs. They didn't play well. And Pete DeBoer didn't say that he chewed them out, and the players didn't say that they got chewed out after the second period, but they made it pretty clear that he kind of explained to them, like, you are not playing like a team that is, wanting to play in the playoffs next week. And I think they really turned around the effort in the third period. But if you look back at the goals, they weren't egregious. They scored 5, but they scored 5 late. They scored an empty netter. They scored, they were down 3-1 with about 10 minutes left, and then they went on to kind of pour it on a little bit when obviously the Stars were kind of on their heels toward the end of the game. But I thought they were opportunistic. Certainly on that, Stone took over and just made a dynamic individual play on the break. I think they took advantage of the Stars getting a little over aggressive. Riley Smith tried to make a pass across the ice. It bounced away, and Nate Schmidt was just there to kind of pound it in when the defense got a little bit distracted and they were off balance. Just a good job taking advantage of that. And I think those were just effort goals. That was just a team that was skating hard and wanting to play hard at the end of the game, and just took advantage of, wanting to win after not really looking that way for a while. And then obviously Will Carey's goal was just filthy to track it down, go between his legs backward and put it in after knocking the stick out of Bishop's hand. On a little bit of a controversial goal that he scored for the go-ahead eventual game winner. But I think you really look at the first 40 and say, wasn't great. The second period in particular was not great at all. The goals really weren't on Leonard. Some deflections, some really just allowing guys to stand in front of the net, which is not acceptable. I think that's going to be the biggest thing that they take away from this and say, you can't allow a guy to just camp in front and redirect pucks. It's ridiculous. And some people are saying here, yeah, I mean, Mark Stone is just a ridiculous hockey player.
All right, what happened before the game? Well, I'll play the video here. It's going to loop a couple of times, but.
Say, can you see?
All right, what do we see here? Who's kneeling?
Well, from the Golden Knights, it's Ryan Reeves and Robin Leonard. Tyler Seguin is one of the players for the Stars that's down there with them, streaming in the anthem from the Knights as they were the home team, I believe, in this one.
Yeah.
So what happened was Ryan Reeves said the other day that the team was not going to do anything. They were not going to kneel. They weren't going to protest. It wasn't going to happen. He said that unless the entire team was comfortable doing it, he wanted to do something as a team, and if someone was going to be uncomfortable, they weren't going to do it. Today, he changed his mind, mostly because he saw what Matt Dumba did for Minnesota and coming out and taking a knee and having some support there with him, but nobody else was there. Nobody else took a knee. Nobody else in the other games took a knee. And Ryan Reeves said he went to his teammates and said, this is ridiculous that nobody has supported him, that he's out there on his own, He's like, I'm going to do it. And Robin Leonard, who has been kind of widely known as somebody who not only supported Donald Trump, but wore a Trump mask when he was in Buffalo in 2016, was a kind of surprising choice to be, to me, kind of a surprising choice to be the guy that kneeled with him. Robin Leonard said after the game, he is basically trying to atone for that mistake. He called his support of Trump a mistake and said he's kind of trying to atone for it. And he also wanted to be there for his teammate in Ryan Reeves. And I guess what Ryan Reeves did is he went to Dallas during the warm-ups, and he was like, I just want you guys to know I don't want you to be caught off guard or surprised. Like, I will be taking a knee during the anthems, just so you guys are aware. And are acknowledge, you guys are not completely thrown off before the game. And Tyler Sagan apparently said, you know what? Let me go talk to my team, talk to my coaches and everyone else. And he got one of his teammates to come out on a knee with him and was there for support for Reeves and Leonard as well. So I think as much as it's going to be polarizing, we know that NHL fans have kind of taken pride in, we're the ones that aren't doing anything. We're not woke. Listen to what Ryan Reeves said. Like, listen to what Robin Leonard said. Listen to what Tyler Sagan said, Matt Duma. Listen to what these guys say and why they're doing this. And, Ryan Reeves comes from a not only a military family, but a law enforcement family where, he has expressed that he's been conflicted about all this and not sure where his role is or what his place is in terms of this. But he just said the voices have grown too loud and too strong, and he wasn't going to just sit around anymore. So I thought that was pretty interesting on his part.
Early light, what so proudly we hailed.
All right, so you got it. Some comments in on the chat on Reeves and Leonard taking a knee. Let's see. Chaotic Sports says I'm kneeling. All right, good. iRebel says, is he the a-hole for being disappointed that more Knights didn't choose to kneel with Reeves? Why weren't there more out there? And is there a person or two that you would point to? Because Brady's asking who would be against this?
Alex Tuck.
Who are the? Okay, but do you believe that for real or not?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do. Yeah, I do. But again, and I'm not faulting him, and I'm also saying, and he's not on the ice there. It's only the starters. So kind of different. The other guys are not. They're on the bench, so it's not really a spot. It's kind of a different setup for how they line up as opposed to baseball or basketball. Yeah, I think Alex Tuck would be against it, but I also think he'd be supportive. Like, I don't think he'd be a jerk about it. I don't think he would tell them what to do or what not to do, and I don't think anybody should tell anybody what to do. I don't think it would be fair. Like CJ saying, like, obviously I support what they're doing, but I would not support if they were to take a knee and they were to tell their teammates, like, hey, take a goddamn knee. Like, we're doing that. Like, no, people should be able to do what they want to do. Like, I don't think you should be victimized or be the one that says I'm not going to. You mean, are you asking why Alex Tuck? You mean Bill D. Wall?
What does that mean?
Alex Tuck went to a Halloween party as a Border Patrol agent named Bill D. Wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For that reason?
Yeah.
Rock and roll cabbie? Based on your tweets? Yes. Yeah. Ryan Carlill says you'd be a hypocrite to chastise players who don't want to take a knee. Whole point is freedom. You're right. Do what you want.
Yeah.
How about this one from Pickle Gamer? Reeves is a popular member of VGK. How does this change how he looks to his fan base? So how do the fans look at Ryan Reeves? Did you see a lot of reaction? Did you see a lot of people turning on Ryan Reeves?
I saw a couple. I didn't see a lot. I definitely saw a couple. I think it's going to be very interesting to see because so many hockey fans that I've seen express that's why I like hockey because they're not making it political. All right, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? And how we feel about him. I will say the more fascinating one is definitely Leonard because he's locked in a battle with Marc-Andre Fleury to be the starter, and we know how beloved Marc-Andre Fleury is. And I will imagine that he will be the target of people that are Fleury people that are like, see, that's why we like Marc-Andre Fleury. Like, I know that's going to happen. That's going to start a lot of people against him for sure.
Has Fleury ever uttered a word about any of this stuff in the past?
Not that I know.
Wait, kneeling, nothing.
No, not that I know at all.
For some reason, Ari is calling Marshy a douche. What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, he talks a lot. Like, I think his whole bit is to be the little guy that, talks too much and kind of acts douchey. But he's not really, I don't think it's really fair to call him a douche. He's like very thoughtful, very like, as much as he chirps his teammates and like really tries to be like the troublemaker around there. Like if you ask him a question, he's very thoughtful about it, very, very, reflective.
Sorry, I just really like the version of the anthem. Is there any chance that where the heck was it? Oh, is there any chance they were taking a knee because they don't like Carnell Johnson and his national anthem? It's more important than that, is it not? Yes.
Ryan is not a VGK person, so he would not know that's who sings the anthem at every game.
Right.
For the Knights. And Green Valley alum, who I kind of knew going back to high school.
What is the difference between seems like a douche and is a douche? There's no difference.
No.
You were creatively taking part in the chat so that Adam could answer one way or the other?
Right.
Ooh. I wonder what Boss Bill thinks.
Yeah.
West Point guy, military flag.
This will be interesting because Foley did say nobody's going to take a knee on his watch back in, a couple of years ago. And I know that Ryan Reeves today said that he ran it by the chain. He ran it by DeBoer, McCrimmon, McPhee, and that's it. So I was wondering, Bill Foley is not there, or he was not. I don't know if he's going to eventually be with the relaxation of the bubble rules, but I do want to know his reaction. I would love to know. And you're right, going into a contract year for Leonard could be interesting.
Chaotic Sports says, do you think it will start more kneeling? We're talking about VGK, or will it be the same group? Will it be a one-time thing?
I don't know if they're going to do it again. I think that they want to make a statement. They want to make a point. They wanted to support Matt Dumba, who did the same thing for Minnesota. I think all of those things are the case, and I don't know. I don't know if that means that they're going to keep doing it and do it throughout, or if they just want to do it for one game. I didn't see an answer on that, so I'm not sure. I want to get Ryan Reeves' statement real quick.
And I know Rock and Roll Cabbie saying Reeves is a Canadian. He did it during the Canadian national anthem and the American.
Yeah, both. Yeah, he did both. Yeah. So yeah, Ryan Reeves. If I get this here. Yes. Oh God, it's taking forever to open. Sorry. He was talking after the game about getting it cleared and talking to everybody else, and he said, "Good Lord, this is a nightmare." Wow. I think it was just a decision that was made today. I definitely want to start by saying in no way am I trying to disrespect the flag or the people who fought for this country. I have the utmost respect for everybody that's gone over and fought and died for the freedom of this country. Bill Foley, our owner, is one of the best guys I've ever met. He's a military guy. That's not the message that I'm trying to send. But at the same time, those people go across seas and they go to war, and families are torn apart in those wars for the freedom of this country, only to come back and find out this country isn't free for everyone. I think that's where I'm coming from. Not everybody is truly free, and I think it's starting to come to light a lot more now, especially with social media. It's kind of blown up over the last year. That's just where I'm coming from.
So what do you think of the statement?
I mean, it makes it tough. I know people will, make their own mind anyway, but it makes it tough to argue against, right? I mean, he's right. He's saying right out, listen, I have a ton of respect. Bill Foley is my owner. I love that guy. He's a military guy. This is not about the military. It never has been. And I know people will twist it and say, yes, it is. I'm making it about that. Like, you don't get to decide what it's about. Like, this is what he's saying. This is his statement. You can argue with his statement if you want, but you can't say it's disrespect from the military. You can't. Like, you don't get to decide what people's actions are.
So how much reaction did you read from fans, hockey followers, other people on Twitter?
I tried to find some. I wasn't finding a whole lot. I think people are still trying to come to grips with it, really. I mean, I know one person that I knew was going to say something on Twitter who just is reactionary and crazy all the time. But otherwise, I think people are like, man, I've made this whole statement. I've made this whole thing about, I love hockey because they're never going to make it political or disrespect the flag that I love. And now they have to come to grips. Like, I've seen a lot of VGK fans say that. Like, I love my VGK because they'll never do anything like that. Well, now what are you going to say? It puts people in a weird spot, man.
We will do this right after the show to get ready for the conversation tomorrow on the radio side. But yeah, Reddit. Well, it's interesting. I often talk about Twitter. It seems like there's an algorithm that will punch up the most angry responses to stuff like this. And here are some of the responses from the, it's Shayna on Twitter, but some of the first responses to the Knights taking a knee during the anthems. Let's see. Here's a Deborah Rogers says, don't start this nonsense. Find another way to peacefully protest. Kneeling during the anthem is not it. Too many people died securing our borders and liberty.
Good job, Deborah.
Adam is so tired of screaming about this.
Because it just makes me so mad.
Yeah. Here's another one. The next one up. Bob Loblaw. On the day the George Floyd video is finally released, hope they take time to watch the video. He was high as fuck. Okay. So
actually, little known fact about the law, Bob. That is punishable by death.
Yeah. Next person says, boom, racism has ended. And that's all I have for now. So there were different responses up earlier, but there you go. Still about the flag, still about protecting or securing the borders. All right. Still about the military.
It's not, you don't get to decide what it's about. But it's tough to argue with his statement. So then you have to find other ways to go at it.
You don't think this is the case, right? That they'll overlook the hockey kneelers for some unknown reason? Ryan saying because most of the sport is white.
Well, and that you're going to get, you're going to get the feedback and the, people lashing out because it's Ryan Reeves, who already has a reputation of sorts and obviously is one of the few non-white players.
Let's do it. Someone give it away. His Reeves jersey. I love it.
I'll take it.
Yeah. It's like neither one of us has the freaking passion and energy to deal with this anymore.
Well, because, the argument's been won. There's only the dumbest of the dumb people that are still on the other side. And the energy that it takes to argue with them, it's just I know I waste a lot of energy arguing with a lot of stupid people about a lot of stupid things. I will argue with people about blue cheese over ranch all day, but I can't. I just can't. They're just so
important stuff: blue cheese and ranch.
Yes, but this is just at this point. It's such a small group of low intellect trolls. I don't think people can actually be on that side anymore. But I guess I don't know.
Hey, if anyone who's commented on sites or that Facebook group, put the link up here because I actually want some stuff and I'm big on secondhand stuff, so I 100% will take some gear.
Jim Gemma is right. ATM protocol. Yes, I'll argue about that all day.
You'll flip out about that.
I had another one today. Oh boy, I don't know where you would have gone on this because you don't agree with. So I've said this before. If there's two ATMs at the drive-thru, right? Somebody is at each one. I don't believe that you pick. I believe you start a line 20 feet back.
What?
And then everybody lines up behind you. And then when everyone is open, you go to, right?
What?
So today, I don't know how you'll feel about this because you don't think it's right to do that. But two people in each one. I'm way back because I'm waiting for one to be open, and one of them's not working.
Ah.
So I allow the person to back up.
Yeah.
And then they get to go next into the one that's working.
Good karma. But most people would not be cool with that.
Yeah, but I mean, I no, people aren't cool with me staying back and picking the one that's open first.
Right.
But that's the right thing to do.
What?
It is. I won't argue with anti-kneelers, but I'll argue with the what voice all day.
Do you know what the what voice is?
What?
I feel like I do, but I'm
I can't believe you haven't picked up on it. All right. So for Friday, we want to do a little Cofield cinema, but we're not going to ruin the show review and breakdown. There's 2 shows. One is this Outcry thing, this documentary I've been talking about forever. Adam finally watched it. The other one, and we'll go over these on Friday. So we'll give everyone on the chat, anyone watching on the replay, we'll give you the entire week to try to watch. Outcry is pretty heavy, and I think it's 5 episodes.
Oh, the other one's not?
Oh, the other one is 5 episodes as well, but it goes by so quickly, and I almost had a tear in my eye at the end. I'm like, that's it? That was awesome. Love on the Spectrum is one of the best things I've seen on TV this year. And I know I do this all the time. I'm like, Outcry is one of the best sports documentaries of the year. Love on the Spectrum is awesome. We're just going to introduce you to 2 of the main characters, and we'll explain what's going on here.
Please tell me it's Michael and Kelvin.
It's Michael. So we're going to meet Michael, talking about trying to find love. And before you type anything in that's smart-assy, this show is about people who are on the spectrum. Maybe they have Asperger's, right? Autism. It is fascinating. Here's Michael, British dude, as he'll tell you, 25 years old.
He's Australian.
Oh,
My name is Michael.
you're ready. Is
And I'm happen to be a 25-year-old man.
How do you feel about being on the spectrum?
Well, autism is just a neurological disability. People with Asperger's or autism, they just learn things a different way. As far as I'm concerned, if anything, it's actually more of a gift.
And are you looking for love, Michael?
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, yes, he is.
very straightforward.
Michael? He tells it like it is.
All of them are. They cut to the chase. That's the fascinating thing. I don't want to spoil it too much.
What?
I know.
Wait, is that from the show?
Yeah.
Who is that? Is
What?
that Michael?
What?
It's Kelvin.
Okay, it is Kelvin.
What?
It's Kelvin at the hibachi.
Because the girl busted out the Nintendo Switch
What?
right at the table.
Oh, stop. There's no way. Stop.
No, oh, no, it is. No, stop it. No chance. There's no way.
I'm first of all, Ryan, you need to watch this, because the fascinating thing about this show, as you watch it, you start to think of people who have some of the personality traits of these men and women, like small parts. I'm like, that right there reminded me of so-and-so. That reminds me of so-and-so. Again, the people I'm talking about are not on the spectrum, but these are human personality traits. So obviously some of this stuff is going to be in people who are not on the spectrum. Should I play a little Kelvin?
Yeah. Michael has a better shot than Kelvin does, I feel like.
I love Michael, but I really like Kelvin.
What?
The computer.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be racist or anything.
What?
As in, you said competitor.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but
Competitor?
I'm sorry, but I meant computer. Laptop.
Yeah, his date has trouble saying computer.
Yeah.
And the first time she said it, it was competitor. And then Calvin just kept blurting out competitor at her. Yeah. And then somehow she thought there was something racist going on. I don't know. But I'm telling you, you have to watch this. And yes, they are dating other people on the spectrum. All are at different levels. All have different conditions. I'm telling you, it's amazing. You know what? I have no idea on this. I don't know. I mean, they want to meet someone significant. I know. You knew the comments would come.
I know. But
she said laptop. But if you watch it, I don't think. Well, I don't know. You and Mangano went back and forth on for I don't know what it was, 20, a 20 tweet DM. It wasn't a battle. It was just comments.
Were you happy that you were on that chain?
I'd
watch it.
I was the next morning. Rock and Roll Cabbie says your clips aren't really selling it for me.
What?
Exactly. I'm not because I don't want to play too many clips. I'm not going to ruin
the as you mentioned, the straightforwardness, just the blurting out of anything at any time is very fascinating, and the way their minds work, which is incredible.
Yep.
It's just a very intriguing show. And we talk about, I have a family member who's very, very much on the spectrum.
What?
Is very young. Stop it. He's very young, and you kind of look forward and see which person is he most like. Hopefully Michael. Michael's awesome. I love Michael. He's great. But yeah, it's a fascinating show, and there's times when they go back and forth, questioning each other.
Yep.
It's such intrigue. It's nothing's being said, but everything is being said. I don't even know how to describe that, but I literally stopped breathing during those conversations. Because I was like, where does this go? I was so.
I think there's part of it as you watch, and like I said, again, these are human traits. They're more extreme with the folks on the spectrum, but even watching people talk and just question, it's because neither side wants it to stop, because if it's not going 1,000 miles an hour, then they're like, I don't know what to say. And there are lots of regular people like that, right?
Yeah.
What?
They say regular.
Well, not on the spectrum.
Yeah, right.
You're an unusual fella.
Me? I probably have. I was watching it. I had some.
No.
Chloe.
Oh no! All right, that's it. That was sick. That was sick. But watch it. Give it a try. It's Love on the Spectrum. I'm telling you, it's worth watching.
Netflix.
Did I say Netflix or yeah?
No, I'm just telling people that's where it is.
Netflix. Good show tonight. Thanks. Goddamn, the Stacy's mom. All night. We're back tomorrow night. Obviously, back during the day at 3:00. And make sure you go listen to Raider Nation Radio every day, 7 a.m. It starts with Clay and Pritch. Brick is on at noon. You got Q and Scott on from 2 to 4. They had an amazing lineup of guests today. And by the way, you can go up to lvsportsnetwork.com. And Brick had on Gruden and Derek Carr. Vinny B, who works for the local paper, was on at 4:00, and he had a Mark Davis. He talked to Tim Brown. So it's going to be a ton of cool Raiders conversation, ton of cool NFL information, and highly recommend calling in. Like this week, I would assume the fact that fans aren't going to be allowed at Raiders games will be a hot topic. So make sure you call in and support those guys as they're going into day number two of Raider